Okay, seventh aliyah. Now, I think I'm gonna I'll make a video for about Maftir, because Maftir is about the sacrifice, about the korban of the day of Rosh Hashana. Okay, so anyways, seventh aliyah, verse 28, and Avram placed this. By the way, these verses are super, super important to all of, of Jewish history. I mean, this is incredibly important verses. I know every verse in the Torah is important, but this is like, unbelievably significant. And Avram placed seven female lambs by themselves. And Avimelech said to Avram, "What are these seven ewe lambs that which you have placed by themselves?" And he said, "For these seven ewe lambs that you shall take from my hand, in order that it be for me a witness that I dug this well." Therefore, they named that place Beersheba, for they both swore. So Beersheba has this like dual name. It's Beersheba, Shavua, like a swore, like an oath, but it's also Sheva, like seven, because there's a well there, which is the Beor, the well, and there's also the seven lambs. But is that the same? But we already knew that the place was called Beersheba because Hagar went to the desert of Beersheba. So is this a different Beersheba? And they formed a covenant in Beersheba, and Abimelech and Pinchal, his general, rose, and they were returned to the land of the Philistines. So they were not from the area. They weren't in the area so they were in Beersheba. So he wasn't in Hebron when the story took place. I thought Avram was in Hebron when Ishmael was born, when Isaac was born, when Isaac was born. But now they're saying they're in Beersheba. So did Avram move from Hebron? Beersheba is like south of Hebron. It is true. Okay. And he planted an eshel in Beersheba, and therefore he called there in the name of the Lord, the name of the Lord, the God of the world. But he never called upon Hashem before. Hashem spoke to him directly. Hashem had told him a year before that he was going to have a son. So, and this eshel, according to the Midrashim, is actually a tent. It's like actually an inn, like a special, let's say, called a guest house, like where a what we call a bed and breakfast, where people could eat, and he would preach to them monotheism. That's what he'd preach to them about the only God of the world, the God of the universe, which we call Yod-Kei Vav-Kei Elokai. So basically, Avram Avinu set up a bed and breakfast where he would preach to people about monotheism. Number 34, verse 34, and we're going to end the seventh aliyah. And Avram dwelt in the land of the Philistines for many days. So, wait a minute. Wasn't he in Beersheba? Was Beersheba part of the Philistines' territory? Because it says that Avimelech went back to the Philistines. So, did he leave Beersheba when all this happened? So there's a lot of questions that come about if you read the verses like I am, and these are just like questions that should easily arise to one's mind. But that is actually the end of it. We don't read any after this. The next aliyah has no connection to this story. It actually has to connect to the korbanot that we give on Rosh Hashana. So we're going to read. I'm actually going to make a video about Maftir, and you'll see what I'm talking about.